Jeez. This was an intense chapter, I'm not gonna lie. But before I get started to talk about the chapter itself, I do want to talk about the color page that the chapter starts off with because it looks really good. And I was looking at it thinking to myself, this almost looks like a movie poster. And I even put that on Twitter. And a lovely account by the name Kagurabachi Brazil replied to me, letting me know that it was supposed to be like a poster. It's actually influenced on the John Wick 3 Japanese poster, which I think is really cool. And it makes sense, because Hokuzono is a fan of John Wick, so it does make sense that there would be some influence in the color page they made. Kagurabachi Brazil was also kind enough to show me the comparison between the John Wick 3 poster and the color page. And yeah, there's certainly resemblance here. But before I did that, I did Google the John Wick Japanese poster, and it showed me the first one, and I think there's a resemblance there as well. It could be that he based it on both of them. I mean, he is a John Wick fan after all, so it is pretty cool. I know Hokuzono really does enjoy watching movies, especially Western films, so I bet John Wick likely has some influences on Kagurabachi, as well as possibly other films he's watched. And I can kind of see that. It wouldn't surprise me if a lot of the action scenes in John Wick were influences for a lot of the action panels done in Kagurabachi, which is great to see because the John Wick films are great and I definitely enjoy them. I wouldn't mind seeing more color pages being like references to movies that he's seen, because I think it's really cool when artists manage to, make nice little references and nods to things that they enjoy, like making a poster based entirely on a movie they've seen, but replacing the characters with their own. I don't know, I'm a big fan of that type of stuff. The only thing I hope for now is that we see Char in a future one. I mean, we finally got Shiba, and I'm happy about that. And I think this basically confirms that, yeah, he has blonde hair. I mean, most of us kind of saw that coming. I know others speculated that he might have had white hair, but no, he's definitely blonde hair. Hakuri has white hair. Kyoda and his family has basically white, blondish hair. So that's pretty good to confirm. Now we just need to know Char's hair color, and then we're good. Alright, now let me move on to the chapter, because I feel like I've talked about the color page a little too long. So, the chapter picks off right where it left off last week, where we see this guy confront Chihiro. And he says, "You've really grown up." And we see the tattoo, which Chihiro immediately recognizes because he knows that the guy who attacked him and his father had that tattoo. And now Chihiro rushes in, pushing this guy against a wall to question him. And yeah, you can tell, Chihiro's completely losing his composure. He's over here questioning everything and having various thoughts in his head. He had grown up, he wasn't there at the time, but he was one of them. How many are there? And he says, "You're from the Hishaku, aren't you? What are you after? Why are you here?" And he just replies by saying, "I'm surprised you can maintain your composure enough to interrogate me." And I'm like, yeah, Chihiro's barely holding on to his composure, man. And then he just flat out says, "I'm the leader at the Hishaku." And I wasn't expecting that. "I'm responsible for the murder of your father. I only speak when I feel like it. Stop this pointless nonsense, and just try to kill me." And that's when both of them begin to fight. And as usual, we get some really good paneling. But man, this guy is in a different level. Chihiro couldn't do anything against this guy. Like, after dodging all of his attacks, he just holds on to him, kicks him into a wall, and he traps him there. And yeah, Chihiro recognizes that this guy is pretty strong. And he even says, "At your current level, it's going to be tough for you to break free. Stay still. Our items are about to go on auction. We don't want anyone messing things up now." And he's right. That's when we see Kyoda start the introductions of the auction. And he starts bringing up the war and how, Rokuhiro was the one that changed everything. And back to Chihiro, this man just keeps questioning everything. Why is he putting the Shinichi up for auction? What is he after? What are the other blades? Why is he here? What is he after? Why? Why did you kill my father? And he replies by saying, "Why? Chihiro Rokuhira? Here's your answer, as well as a declaration of war. It's all so that I can wield the Shinichi. Putting it up for auction is a part of the plan. That's why we've been helping the Sasanami clan so often. We had to make sure the Rakuizaichi auction would go on without a hitch." And Chihiro now knows that he's been working with the family, but he doesn't know why he's auctioning the blade to begin with. And even if it does eventually gain control of it, what does he want with it? But that's when Chihiro realizes that there's no point in thinking about it, the details don't matter. But that's when the guy is like, "You don't get it, do you? Enchanted blades don't choose people. Anyone can enslave them." And that's an interesting word to use there, enslave. And Chihiro's like, "All the more reason to stop you. Why haven't you killed me already? And he says, "You're still too green to harvest. You're relying on Cloud Gouger, but it isn't much of a threat anymore. Try and fight all you want, your situation is getting worse. There's nothing you can do, so why don't we take our time and have a little chat? You don't mind, right? I'm curious to know what's grown from the seeds of hatred I've sowed all those years ago." Damn! This guy is really trying to piss off Chihiro, and it is working. Now Chihiro isn't even interested in hearing this guy anymore. That's when he thinks back to his father and when he introduced him to the blades for the first time, and all the time that they spent together. "Those blades are special to me," which are the words he's remembering from his father, and he remembers helping him out, taking care of the blades and everything. And that's where we see the text. "I was at your side the entire time. I won't let you die like this. May, die as mine at my side. Shred." And that's when we get this really sick panel of Chihiro. This man is ready to fight this dude head on. And that's how the chapter ends. And yeah, like I said in the beginning, this was a really intense chapter. And seeing Chihiro lose his composure like that hit. But he got exactly what he's wanted since the first chapter. To look for the guy responsible for his father's death. So that leads to quite the interesting scenario, because he's encountered him, he's going to fight him head on now, but I don't see Chihiro winning this fight. But the thing is, I don't really know what's going to happen after this. I think Chihiro may have really screwed up. I don't see a scenario where he does get the blade back. Maybe his own. Like, he can get Enten back. I feel like that's likely to happen no matter what. But when it comes to the Shunichi, I don't think he's getting that back. I think the leader of the group that he's fighting against now, he's going to get that blade, no matter what. But I do find it strange that he went through all the trouble of having to put the blade up for auction and him trying to retrieve it that way. Is there like some sort of weird condition within the blades that if you manage to get it through an auction, you can somehow cheat your way into using it? Because remember, he did say anyone can enslave them, which is a very interesting choice of words. So I'm guessing you can find a way to force the blade to work with you. And that makes me wonder if there's any negative consequences to doing that. But it's hard to say at the moment. And there's also the question about Shiba along with Hakuri and how their fights are going. Shiba we briefly saw, and he seems to be doing okay on his own, fighting against the Toe. But Hakuri I'm a bit worried about. It seems that his brother was like pretty shocked to see his little brother try to fight back. So I do wonder how that's going to end. And there's also the question of, well, Char's group. Because, remember, Char and Hinawa were in the car as well. Unless they're just waiting at a distance. I kind of hope they don't show up, because we don't need Char to be in more trouble than she already was. So I think they should be safe for now. And there's also Yuki and Sumo Guy. I guess they're still fending off foes in the back where Chihiro left them. So we probably won't see them just yet. So I am really curious to see how their fights are going to be handled. And obviously, the biggest thing right now is obviously Chihiro's fight against this guy. And I don't see Chihiro winning. Like, I really don't. I think Chihiro's going to put up one hell of a fight. Don't get me wrong. But I don't see him overcoming this guy. Like, Chihiro barely did anything to this guy, and he's a leader of the group too, not just some subordinate. Like, he showed up in person, walked up to Chihiro like it was nothing. Like, this guy has a lot of confidence, so I don't think anything Chihiro does will really faze him. But either way, I think we're still going to get a really cool moment with Chihiro, so I do look forward to seeing that in the next chapter. Which I think releases in 2 weeks, because I think it's Golden Week? So everything's on break, which means, of course, like I said, we gotta wait 2 weeks for the next chapter. Which is going to be a bit of a pain, because, man, it left off in such a strong way. But it's going to be worth it. It's definitely going to be worth it. But yeah, this was a pretty intense chapter, and like I said, I definitely felt all of the emotions that Chihiro was feeling. Now I'm really looking forward to seeing how this continues. So, what do you guys think? Did you guys enjoy the chapter? And how do you think it's going to continue? Do you think this guy is actually going to get a hold of the Shunichi? Or is Chihiro going to find a way to win this fight? And of course, if you want to talk about Shiba, Hakuri, and the rest of the gang, or anybody from the other group, feel free to share your theories below. And I'll try to read them and reply to all of them. And now, that'll do it for me. The wait is going to be a bit killer, but I think we'll survive. So for now, I'm going to head out. Here's looking forward to the next chapter. Peace out, and take care, everyone.